Good morning, everybody. It is July the 1st, Tuesday morning, and I'm, of course, driving to work. Whew, so what are we going to talk about today? Let's talk about something that's kind of interesting we don't usually talk about on the business side. It's transitioning. You can say, like, okay, what's this? There are a lot of RPG game publishers. Tons of them. Not just the big guys, the medium level guys, even the small guys like me. There's a lot of people doing stuff. But the question always comes is like, what are you going to do after this? Or where are you going to go from here? You know, a lot of people do the whole, well, I want to get a role-playing game company, so I want to make games and da-da-da. But then it's like, okay, well, where do you go from there? What's your next step? How do you progress? Because if you think about it logically, I mean, I'm going to take, this is going to be a big picture look. So, you start out, you want to either be a publisher or you want to do writing, all right? You start doing that, you get freelancing, you do that, you get a couple good freelancing gigs, then you become a regular freelancer that people kind of respect and kind of know, okay, it's kind of good. And then from there, you go to a game publisher where you learn all about publishing, the whole other aspect of it. Okay, you learn all that stuff. All right, and you get a small company that does kind of okay. Then your company grows and you into a okay sized company. It's like, then you go into like a top small tier company. You're like the biggest of the small tier guys. And then from there you make the transition from a small tier guy to I'd say small medium sized guy. I'm trying to think what company I'd call small, medium size. Someone someone you recognize, like, oh, I know that company. They do that game and something else like that. You do that. Then you move up the ranks from there, from small to middle to a large mid-sized game, and then you go to the top tier. This is the Paizo's. I'd say Paizo. Let's talk Paizo. Your top level guy, your Paizo. You've got not just one game system, you've got card games, you've got board games, you're making in excess of, what I'm guessing, $5 million a year, $5 million, $10 million a year, a solid company, a respectable company that people would love to work for. Be like, oh yeah, that's a good company, oh yeah. Then you make that jump, as I'm going to call it, that jump to the other really profitable one. From there you go to video games. The video game guys, you go from the low budget guys where $10 million is like nothing, it's a little drop in the bucket, and then you go to the medium sized guys, and then you go to the big guys, the true money makers, the guys with the legendary status, BioWare, Blizzard, EA, these are the monstrosities, that's what I call them, that level of stuff, and you look at it. It just amazes me because there's a lot of guys that I know who've worked at the video game company level who've gone back to work on the role-playing game side and develop by there. It's just very interesting to me that in a field and I guess they call it a field of people doing all kinds of interesting things, you'd think there'd be more crossover from video games to role-playing games. Since a lot of the ideas that are on role-playing games are straight out of video games, are straight out of role-playing games. The ideas behind Mass Effect and stuff like that, those are role-playing in traditional tabletop sense. Things that are very, very common. And people are like, oh, it's so cutting edge. And I know a lot of the role-playing guys are like, what are you talking about? This is like my afternoon game. This is, this is pretty, what happens? And I think there's a lot of people developing those skills. But there really isn't a transition point to go from small publisher that people know about to large public. And there are companies that are trying that, and they do that, I guess I'd say the hardest way possible. You start out lowest end, and then you build your way up. And then, I'm going to look at, God, I can't think of names now. Privateer Press is a good example. Privateer Press has definitely grown over years, decades, and they've worked very hard, and they've gone from a simple concept of a miniatures game to a role-playing game. Now they're moving to video games. And that's always like, that's the big transition point. When you go from the traditional tabletop model to the video game model. And let's just be honest, the money's in the video games. I mean, it's going to cost you a lot of money. You know, look at Paizo's Kickstarter as a prime example. When they want to do a video game, it's expensive to do a video game. I mean, you're just burning money right off the bat. It's like you're burning money like crazy, and then you get it working, and then you got to see if people want to pay for it. On top of that, then you got to deal with all the competitors in the market. On top of that, it's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? So you got that kind of stuff, and I always wonder, because I know for myself as a publisher, I'm looking to go from point A, where we've done tabletop. We've done tabletop. I specialize specifically in print on demand and PDF, because I don't want to put a lot of money out there to let it just hang and let it, you know, be a bad business decision. Or people always ask me, like, why don't you print up big runs of books and do that kind of stuff? And I'm like, dude, I don't like to tie up that level of money when I don't have to. You know, print on demand makes it very, very simple. That I spend exactly what I need to get out to people. Or people want to get it, they get it direct, and I get paid right then and there. Now, the percentage that I take in the cut is huge. I mean, it's a big percentage. But at the same time, it's like, I didn't have to print anything. Didn't have to print anything, didn't have to warehouse anything, didn't have to ship anything. Now, anybody telling you, you know, that's where the real costs come in. You know, oh, you want to print it? Oh, okay, print's going to cost you this much. You got to ship it? Okay, well, shipping's going to cost you this much. Oh, you're shipping a lot to us? We got to storage. It's like, holy cow. There's lots of ways you can just lose money, and I'm really just dwindling away, just doing basic stuff. So I've kind of taken the point of view of saying, hey, I'm not gonna do that. I don't think it's good long term. You know, it's also, I think for me, it has always been the amount of time I want to spend on stuff instead of being with my family and things like that. You know, it's you know, now that I'm a single father, it's like, okay, do you want to spend 3 hours working on this book and getting this stuff shipped out and doing all this, or would you spend those 3 hours with your son? You know, those are decisions that, you know, I've got to make. You know, most people have to make them. But, you know, being a single parent, you've really got to think about, you know, when I'm not with him, there's got to be a feasible reason why I'm not with him. You know, that to me is important. So, you know, every dollar counts, but every smart dollar counts just as much, or even if not even more. You know, so I think that people need to really look at the business numbers for themselves. I mean, people get caught in the whole. There's a company back when 3.5 was made. I'll never forget this. This blew my mind. First time company, first prime product out. The guys came out with a product, and there was a nice product, and, you know, we were talking, some other people were talking to you. Well, how many copies did you print? You go, oh, we printed 10,000. And we just looked like, I'm sorry, what did you say? He's like, oh yeah, we printed 10,000 copies. He's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? He goes, these copies, you know, and this is a thick book, hardcover. And I'm like, why the hell did you print 10,000? He goes, oh, they were like, it was like $2 a book, or something ridiculously small for the price. He's like, yeah, and we're selling them for like $39. So you do the margin and markup there. It's like, wow, you don't have to sell a lot to make a lot. But they printed up 10,000 copies because the numbers are so cheap. The numbers got to be so cheap. And even, I think the first year they sold, I think maybe 400, 500. It was something like, ugh! And then you had like, you know, 9,000 more books, you know, 9,500 more books just sitting there, rotting away. At the end, I think they wound up, like, they burned. I think they legitimately burned at least 6,000 books. And it was just like, holy cow. How much money did you spend on that to get down to that low? It's like, you know, so I'm against that. Look, you're a small company, you don't have a lot of money. Go print on demand. There's enough services now available, not like when I got started, there was only like one at the time. You know, you only had Lulu. And then Lightning Source came, and Lightning Source, I still can't figure out. I've told this before. I have issues with Lightning Source, which I've never dealt with a company more difficult to do layout and get stuff approved. I've never had that ever happen in my life. I was like, what is going on? And then, you know, CreateSpace, it's Amazon. So, you know, how do I beat that? Well, I'm on Amazon 2 seconds after I push yes and everything is set up. Ta-da, here's an Amazon book. So there is some advantages with that I'm very happy with. So, you know, it's find a print-on-demand printer that works for you, that gives you a good rate. A lot of people like doing hardcover books. I don't, because I know, hardcover books automatically add $6 to the cost of the book. Automatically. You got a $30 book, well, it's going to be like a $36, $37 book automatic, just because of hardcover. And, I think people like hardcovers in the sense of, oh yeah, I love a hardcover book. I'd love to have a hardcover book, but I don't want to charge you $600 just for the pleasure of having a hardcover book. I'd rather you save that money and buy something else from me. That's a radical idea. Hey, save $6 and maybe you can buy another product from me instead of having to pay for a cover. They're like, well, Louis, it makes it more sturdy. And yeah, it does make it more sturdy. But it's $6 extra to make it more sturdy. Is it $6 worth of sturdiness? I don't know. Because, everybody I know, their spines eventually break in the books anyway. And they use them so much. Save the $6, get another product. That's just me. That's my point of view. So, and then planning out, it's just my opinion. Also planning out other types of games to do. For example, I've done a couple card games. I've done even a little board game, just to try it out, because I didn't know much about board games. That's what to expect. What makes the board games different? What do you do? And that's why I did it. And the card games, it's I think they're interesting. I've done card games with Paizo products and things like that, but doing my own separate card game, that's something fun to do, something I was interested about. Saying, hey, this would be kind of cool, let's try this out. And now, print on demand with cards. It's it's funny to me to see how much has changed in such a short time. From when print on demand was print on demand, that's probably gonna be a garbage book, to now it's print on demand is amazing. You see full color books done print on demand that look great. And you're like, holy cow! And this is the printing has gotten better and better and better, and the technology they're bringing it to has gotten better and better and better. So I'm loving this. I'm telling you, loving this. So I think a lot of people need to think, long term. What is their company going to look like at the end? My company, for me, I've always said I'm developing a media company. LPJ Design is a piece of it, but it's not the only piece, and it's not the final piece. I want to become as big as Disney. Why wouldn't you want to be? Why wouldn't you want to be that big? Why wouldn't you want to be able to snatch up other properties like Marvel and DC and add them to your kingdom? A lot of us think, oh, I'm just going to be a small publisher and that's it, and that's all I want to do. I'm like, no, I've got huge dreams and aspirations. Why would I be doing this? Why would I spend time doing this if I wasn't going to try to make it big? People are like, well, you do it for the fun. It's I'm paying people. These people aren't doing it for the fun. They're getting paid to do this. This is work. And I think that's another issue. People getting this whole, oh, you should be there for the fun of it. No. When you start paying people money, that's not that. It's fun work. Don't get me wrong. But we're not doing it for fun. We're doing it for profit. We're making money off of it. We're generating funds. But let's be honest. All of us could be doing something else with our family, kids, or loved ones instead of gaming. There's a ton of things we could be doing. We choose to do this because A, we like it, and B, there is some financial excitement with it. If you made a product that lost money every time, and not $2, but I'm talking, thousands of dollars. How long would you till you be like, that's it, I'm not doing this anymore, this is ridiculous? Be over very quickly. And, a lot of us, as we do love it, it's a business. Well, some people don't see it as a business. Some people just think, oh, you should give away your stuff for free. And it's like, dude, this is work. This isn't, or you'll see guys, my other favorite one, I'll put up this book for free and give it away because people should have this book. It's like, whoa. I didn't get that artwork for free, and those guys who wrote it, I didn't give them air. I gave them money. My money. So I've got to get these, make some profit on this to get back the money I spent on these guys. So when you give it away for free, you're not really giving it away for free because you care about it. You're giving it away for free because you want to be nice or something. And people say, well, it's no big deal. It doesn't affect. Well, it does affect. It does. Let's be blunt about it. It does affect it. Now, if I choose to give away something for free, that's my choice. It's my product. I made it. I can choose to do that. And I've done that with several of my products. You know, it's like, here's a free product, enjoy, have a nice day, boom. What makes it even funnier for me is that people take my free product, they put it somewhere else and say, look at the free product I'm giving away. You're like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah, I gave away that product because it's my product to give away. Why are you putting your name attached to it like you did something? I don't understand that. I don't understand that mentality. You know, if someone tells you, hey, you know, go out, disseminate this, like with good Lord, I see the cover and I can't think of it now. Eclipse Phase. Eclipse Phase gave away the rules for free for a very, 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 very. I think it's still even giving away the rules for free. But that was their choice to do so. If they said, hey, distribute it, it's Creative Commons, I believe, you know, do it, make cool stuff, da da da. And I thought, that's nice, that's really, really cool. But they also made a cool book. Let's just be honest, that book rocks. A lot of crazy ideas. Transhuman horror is a great idea. Love it. Very interested. But, you know, as a publisher, you spend money on these products. You have to recoup your money. You know, that's another part of it. You know, it's the issue of making a successful business. Because when you make a successful business, you have to make more products. The more products you have to make, the more people you get to employ. The more people you get to employ, the more money you make. See, it's a circle. You know, when I first got started with this, I worked with guys who are very small guys. Who, you know, a lot of them didn't get paid much, but they worked for me. But they're like, hey, you know, I won't get paid much, but I'll get my name out there, and that's how it starts. And then you make that next step to you get a little better level of people, a little higher quality of art, and you get that level of, okay, we've gone from, you know, I don't want to say out of your garage, but out of your garage, you know, black and white scribbled art, you know, people see this quality. You take the next step. Okay, well, now I can afford some stock art, maybe a couple better names, and it looks a little prettier and it's nicer cover. You take that next step. You go, okay, well, I'm going to do some full color artwork, hire, you know, one of the bigger names. It'll cost me money, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. That kind of thing. And then you become the guy who hires regularly from the big names. You know, it's just a process. It's just a process of how things go. Florida and drivers. Always interesting. They tell you in a big sign, don't turn right here in this other lane. People constantly go out and turn the lane. It's like, you don't even read the directions, do you? Oh, where was I? Oh, yeah. So you move on to bigger people. I mean, that's a transition that took me some time for me to understand. You know, I'm not going to lie. But I kept saying, why don't I just use these other guys? These other guys, you know, hey, they don't get paid much and keep the cost down. Yeah, you can do that for a little bit, but then you have to make a transition. It's just a natural evolution. You know, you get to the maximum where you can do the best kind of work at a certain level. And you can't go any higher until you actually start spending a little more. But at that point, if you've done everything right, it's just another investment in another level. And a lot of people try to ramp it up very quickly. They do what I always like. They'll get like a big name person, and they'll put their big name person on the project, and they won't promote the project right. They'll be like, so-and-so's writing this thing. You got to pick it up. And people will be like, oh, that's interesting. But no one goes to pick it up. No one, you know, cares about it. They don't think about it because it's just, you know, it's just kind of a marketing ploy. You know, it works. Don't get me wrong, it works. It builds interest. But you, as the business, you've got to push that aspect of it. You got to push it up the hill. You got to push those guys up the hill. Get them interested. Get them excited about what they're working on. Hey, here's the project. This one's coming out. Boom, check it out. Boom. That's exciting. You know, that's what you want to do. That's the plan you want to do. I think I might have got clipped there. Yeah. Ugh. Alright, about to pull into work. So like I said, I think the future of game companies, you need to think, you know, really, really long term on how you're going to progress from where you are to where you want to be. But a lot of us just settle for being tabletop guys, you know, making a couple $100,000, you know. And I don't know if that's a good thing. Some people just want to be that too. That's all some people want to be. So I'm not going to, you know, degrade what they want to be. But I also want people to realize that You don't have to limit yourself. You can be much, much, much bigger than that. Woo! On 20 minutes spot, almost exactly. All right, I'm getting out of here. I'll talk to y'all later.